Okay. Another useful function is strip, L strip, R strip, and simply strip. And this is useful when you read data, okay, from an Excel file or a CSV file, and sometimes the data may contain extraneous spaces in front or at the end, and you want to strip out all of those additional extraneous empty spaces. Okay, that's one example of when you want to be able to use the strip function. So L strip is left strip syntax, okay, trims leading characters from a string and returns copy of the string with any white space characters removed at the left end. And R strip does the same thing, okay, on the right side. Okay, and strip does it both sides? I don't know. So same as L strip and R strip done together. Okay, so here you see there is extraneous space on the left side and on the right side. So if you do L strip, the left side extraneous spaces are gone. Okay, and here R strip, okay, the right side extraneous spaces are gone, and simply strip, okay, both sides are gone. Okay. Again, there are lots of these functions for strings, because strings is where you typically will have lots of mistakes in the data. So that's the reason why you have all of these different kinds of functions that help you clean the data. So here replace is another function. So replaces the occurrences of substring within a string. So you have telephone numbers with hyphen, hyphen, right? And you have social security number and so on. So if some of them have those hyphens and some rows do not have a hyphen, okay, you can look for, with a find, you can look for a hyphen, and if there is no hyphen, just leave it as is. If there are hyphens, then remove the hyphens. So the entire column will, all the numbers will be consistent in the same format. Okay, so replace is something that you can use. You can use it to replace one with another, X with A, for example. Okay, so here we have this string, and we want to replace the X's with nothing. Okay, of course you can always say I want to replace X's with, say, Z or something. Then it's going to replace them with Z, but we want to remove them. Okay, and you can also specify how many to remove. So you can, the syntax here for replace, you can specify how many to replace. So if you say 2, so what if you say more than what is there? So 20. Well, so it removes as much as it can, I guess. Okay. And sometimes, if you're not sure what can be done and what cannot be done, you try, then see what happens. Okay, so that's how you learn. Okay. Next is your turn. Remove the non-numeric characters from the string. So here is a typical example. Suppose if you have a cost of something or salary or something in a data set, and that includes the $sign and then an accounting symbol like a comma. Okay, when Python reads that data with a $sign in front or a comma in between, it's going to assume that it is a string. So it's going to bring it in as a string, and if you try to convert that string into a numeric value, you throw an error because it doesn't know how to convert the $sign and the comma. So you want to go in and remove those dollar signs and comma. So how do you do that? Okay. So let's say V1, okay, again remember V for value 1. All right. So now we can use replace, and there are ways to give a list of characters to replace. Okay. That's a little advanced topic. We'll get to that later on. Right now we'll do one step at a time. Okay. So we want to remove the dollar sign and we want to remove the comma. So go ahead and do it. How do you do it? So V1, okay. Now I talked about this early, the first class or whatever, I don't remember. There is an autocomplete in Jupyter Notebook. So if you press the tab key, okay, if a name is in the namespace that starts with, okay, you have to give it a start. Okay. So now we have v1 dot, so Python knows v1 is a string variable, and then you say dot re, so it knows that you're looking for a string function that starts with re. Okay. Now you press the tab key. If there is only one function that starts with re, it's going to fill it out. If there is more than one starts with re, it will give you the list. These are the functions that starts with re. Which one do you want? So, and tab completion is very useful. You know that if it shows up, then you know that's a valid function. You're not making some function that is not there. So v1 replace. Okay, so you're going to take the value, the string in v1, and you're going to replace what with what. Okay, we want to replace the dollar sign with just blank. So you can use like that. Okay, a single quotation mark apostrophe or double quote. It doesn't matter. Okay. All right. Now, but we still have the comma, right? So, so what we have to do is, you know, if you do this, it's not going to. This is not going to work, but let's do it anyway. Let's see. So now the comma is gone, but the dollar is still there. That's because we did not save this. Okay, so it made the change, but it did not make it permanent. Okay. So what we have to do is, okay, if you want to put it back in the same name, we can say v1 equal to v1. Or if you want to put it in a different name, you can do that too. Okay. So v2 is this. Okay. And then again v1, and then you print v1. So now the dollar sign is gone, the comma is gone, but it still is a string variable. Okay, see, there is that. So you have to, if you want to convert it into a numeric variable, then you have to use the numeric function. What function did we use for that? I think it's float, right? So float. Okay, so now the thing is gone. Okay. Of course, we did not save it back, so v1 is still string. So if you want to save it back, then you have to say v1 equal to, and then you do V1. Okay. So you took the string, removed $sign and the comma, okay, and then we converted it into a floating point number. Okay. If you started out with this and then you try to convert, okay, then it would have given you an error. Suppose we say V1 is that, right? And then you say float V1, it will give you an error because this is not a valid numeric value, okay, because it has a $sign and a comma.